Good early morning. 12:28 in the morning. Friday morning. This is episode 39. Yes, 39 of the $9 podcast. I am your host. Yeah, everybody knows me as Drewski on the TalkNshop Patreon. I am the moderator of their dedicated chat known as the Falcon's Nest. I've been doing it for about a year now, and it doesn't suck. Does not suck. And soon to be part of the TalkNshop network. What is the TalkNshop network? You will find out a little later. One thing at a time. It's like, don't rush me. Don't rush me, kids. I'm still trying to wake up. It's like it's early afternoon for me, for crying out loud. A couple hours from now, as I'm taping this, the boys are going to be rocking Korakuen Hall in Japan, a place they know quite well. For Pro Wrestling Noah, as they beat the shit out of Kiyomiya and whatever fool he got to tag with him tonight. And it will be on the Wrestle Universe streaming service. It has a 7-day free trial for first time hoots who want to check out the boys in their element. Mark out for DJ Domingo to hear his theme that he made for the boys in the hallowed halls of Korakuen Hall, which is very much a bucket list item. Very happy for DJ Dominguez for that happening. It's something you can hang your hat on. And the boys are there for 2 weeks. And the boys are on a tour in Japan for a couple of weeks. There's going to be constants. There's going to be hotel room banter, runs on Japanese steakhouses, sponsor parties up the yin yang, which is an interesting conundrum since the gun is sober now. He probably sees sponsor parties a bit differently now. Now Gallows has to basically cover for both of them because, after all, Japan is a drinking culture. Long bus rides where they can work on their Stone Cold impressions or their Uncle Allen impressions, or whatever new impression that they come up with to pass the time. Checking on the nest in odd hours. Because right now, it's about midnight, 12:30 a.m. Pacific time here, and there it's about 4 in the afternoon in Japan because 19-hour time difference, and they're a day ahead, so they're time traveling. 19-hour flights, right? You hear about the 19-hour flights, and you realize. Go back and listen to stories about how the Young Bucks, the Bizzles, would do those 19-hour flights on the regular. And there would be occasions where they'd fly out there 19 hours, and they'd be in Tokyo for one match, 10, 15 minutes, be there in the country for less than 12 hours, and back on a flight for another 19 hours for love of the business. It plays havoc with your sleep patterns. Well, Mato famously doesn't sleep on planes, as is. A 19-hour flight. Sure, they're in first class, but Mato is not sleeping the entire time, Andy Take's probably playing like some sort of like, handheld slot gimmick to pass the time. But the boys would be interesting because they're tagging with some interesting legendary brothers, and facing some legendary brothers. Kenta. Have to realize the status of Kenta's nose after what happened in Vegas a couple days ago, thanks to Rob Van Dam. But it should be interesting to see how they work around that injury, and and see them super crazy. ECW legend, still killing it, still doing the triple moonsault, still getting booked wherever, and just having the time of his life. And 2 weeks in Japan. It's been a couple of years since they've done this, so it'll be interesting to see how what frame of mind they will be in afterwards, because then they fly back for a day, 19-hour flight back to Tampa for a day, and then fly straight back out for a 20+ hour flight to Australia for a week. That is an insane turnaround, and that play havoc with your perception, keeping time. Then after Australia, they come back home for like a couple more days, and then they're back in Japan for for 3 weeks. So the Delta Medallion Club is paying off handsomely. The gun actually got the exclusive spin cycle treatment done to his luggage a couple days ago. Looked like it went through a shredder. Luckily, the laptop adapter seemed undamaged. That would have been disastrous, because then they wouldn't have been able to do TalkNshops from Japan. And that's another thing to look forward to. For old school, it's like TalkNshops in Japan hit different than the U.S. Gallows is even more unhinged in Japan than he is in the U.S. And that's saying something. And apparently they have a bar and they're going to be doing the shows from. So Lord knows what's going to happen. Who knows who might show up? Will they have an audience? Hard to say. We'll see in like the next couple of weeks, because they will keep us updated. The updates will be coming in odd hours for most people, but not for me, because technically they're sort of on my time. Because I'm usually up, and it's like it's late evening in Japan, so that's when the TalkNshop, the TDH episodes of TalkNshop would usually go off live and be right around 3 a.m. to 3 to 4:30, 5 in the morning, West Coast time, back in the day. So I'm used to this, and they did a morning radio a couple hours ago, getting in. Apparently, LG's been talking shit about Kiyomiya, about all the different ways he's going to kick his ass ever since he stepped off the plane. And he hasn't shut up about it, which is good. Hate is a good fuel. Kayfabe on that. I hope the gun's shoulder holds out, because don't want a Sami Zayn situation where you pop your shoulder out just celebrating, and then you're out for a couple months. It's like, that's the sort of injury you don't want, especially at the beginning of a tour. Fingers crossed that the flights back are safe. It's like, nothing really, that happens. Because the boys, last time the boys were in Noah, At least the last time Gallows was in Noah, a lot of the talent were young boys. Now they're back. Now that they're the esteemed veterans. So they only know them by the young boy dynamic. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes on. But there is a bit of a New Japan exodus over into Noah. They will see like Naito and former Lij members there, so there is some familiarity there. Marufuji's still there, so it'll be interesting. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. And meanwhile, back in the States, let's talk about Dynamite. Talk about Dynamite and the main event of Darby. Darby Allin is going to speed run his way through an AEW championship reign. It's going to be short. It's going to be short. There, you can tell they're going to run the conceit that all these high his style and the matches and the opponents he has that he's going against is going to break him down to the point where it's like come double or nothing. When he loses the belt, it'll be expected. It's a good thing because the AEW titles, the title reigns have been rather long. But it's good to have a short one once in a while to break up the momentum and to give the audience the belief that a title change can happen at any time. Which it's great. So it makes every title defense a little bit suspenseful. And I love how it started. Dynamite started with MJF, basically throwing a temper tantrum as he should. I would be surprised if he didn't. But then having Kevin Knight come out to interrupt him, which I found interesting, because the main event scene is crowded as hell, but they're also building up the new faces. So you have like a mix. There's at least about a dozen people that are gunning for the title right now. They can go so many different directions as opposed to like the company in Connecticut where they have 3 or 4. They're sort of locked up there. They're sort of locked into some storylines. But in AEW, they sort of have the luxury to pivot in case of injury, because let's face it, it's like they go all out on in their matches. As the main event with Darby and Tommaso Ciampa showed. Tommaso Ciampa has been a revelation since he came to AEW. Everybody knows he was, he's had a long career. People tend to forget how much of a beast he was in PWG, like in the early 2010s, when the roster there was even more of a murderer's row than AEW is currently. Yeah, he can go. It's like, and his run in NXT solidified that, especially his matches with Gargano. And his heel run in NXT is still talked about, and they never capitalize on it. And that is the definition of a fumble, in my opinion. But playing armchair booker like 95% of the net, and it's interesting to see Ciampa being part of the circling the TNT circling the TNT title, circling all the belts. I love it. It's like fresh faces all over the place, and you got guys coming back from injuries, and we still have all these next week. Darby and his another chapter of the forever feud with Brody King. That match is potential to be, could be their best match ever. If they, they can go two ways about, they can, full on sprint, which is probably what's going to happen, or long down, knockdown, drag out, which can describe every Darby match is pretty much knockdown, drag out. He's usually the one getting knocked down, dragged out, dragged around, dragged over, dragged through a table, dragged through a barricade, dragged through glass, dragged, you get the point. But I respect it. I respect Darby going all out with it because he realized he has a target on his back, and he knows he's not long for the belt, so he's gonna try and defend it as best he can. But he's gonna stave off the inevitable, but it's gonna be entertaining as hell. Speaking of potentially entertaining, somebody on Reddit posted a IWS Mid-South or IWA Mid-South match from 2008, 2009 between one John Moxley and one Ricochet. We're talking long-haired Ricochet here. It's the only time they've ever faced each other. It was like in a tournament. It was the only singles match they've ever had. That revelation intrigued the fuck out of me. So I linked to the Reddit. I linked the Reddit to the Twitter, as they say, and tagged Rico and Tony Khan, and say, "Hey, what do you mean? What do you mean you've only had this once? Gee, I sure like to see that on TV." Hint, hint, right? Apparently Ricochet is in agreement with it. So there might be a chance that this match might end up on Dynamite next week. We shall see. Next week's Dynamite is pretty much shaping up to being a barn burner as well. You got Ring of Honor last night. It was basically more of the Jacksonville tapings. Those are going down really well from what I from what I hear. There's a Saturday. AEW's running something on Saturday. It's like a called Playoff Palooza or something like that. I think the reason they moved it to Saturday is because it's the NFL draft is right now, and TK's job in the NFL draft is basically to find non-drafted free agents. He has like a chart, and he's constantly updating it, doing with his analytics group, and he doesn't really go to work till like day 3, which is Saturday. So basically, when the full draft's over, then he gets going. He gets to work. So his attention is going to be divided for a couple days. That's fine. It's great that the AEW integration with the NFL also happened to happen this week with the introduction of the NFL lucha masks. Every all 32 teams. It's the first. I believe it's the first of many NFL type things, and we'll see how we'll see about a couple months down the line how the collaboration goes. Does it expand? We shall see. And I'm curious as to what is in store for tonight on SmackDown, because we're getting in that time of year where it's like the rumored post WrestleMania, quote unquote budget cuts happen, and a lot of people end up on the street, and it's tended to happen during SmackDown after WrestleMania. So expect your timeline to be flooded with a bunch of rumors, bunch of people speculating on stuff, and it's like it's going to be a very intense 24 hours, if true. Yeah, it's sort of thing where it's almost like a free agency period. No, it's actually no. Better. A better comparison would be the college transfer portal nowadays. That's basically what this is. It's like a transfer portal, in a sense. So we shall see. We shall see. I'm going to try and keep this short because I have plans. I have a network debut to get ready for, whenever that is. I've got all the assets together, and all I'm just waiting for is a go call from the gun. And I'm, as you notice, I'm trying not to stutter, trying not to stammer. I'm trying to be more coherent and slower with my takes, because I have a tendency to talk too fast, and that's what apparently leads to the stammering and shit. Because my thoughts are faster than my mouth can move. C'est la vie. But as it is, it's like I suppose I can give you a little bit of a preview of what you might hear. Let me pull this up here. Let me pull this up. Give me a second. Yeah, here's a promo.
Hey, we blew our budget on this. Least you can do is listen. The $9 podcast with Drewski weekly on the TalkNshop Network, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, it's like that. When I'm saying level, I say I'd level up. I'm not half-assing anymore.